Welcome. Today I will introduce how to add new users, modify and delete users. First, I will start out with adding users, and there are two commands that we can use. One of them is an interactive one and the other one is a more versatile, but it is harder to use. It's simply just there are more steps to take with the second one. First, I will just start with the add user, and this is the one with the interactive interface. But in order to add a new user, we need to do it with sudo, means super user do, since we need to modify files that requires root access. In order to start the add user process, we need to type sudo add user and we need to provide a username. I will just type new user and it will prompt us for a new password. First, I will just type test123 and this will tell us that this is bad password since it's shorter than 8 characters. Plus, additionally, this is a password that most likely shows up in the dictionary, meaning that it's very susceptible for dictionary attacks. And in order to change this password at this point, I can just simply press return and it won't match the password, so it will ask for the password again. And for the new password, I will just provide a more secure password. The next step is providing additional information about the user, and it will be the full name, the room number, work phone. By the way, these are optional. I don't need to provide any of this. I just type it in, or later on I can show where is this information that we provided. And the last step is just typing Y, because this information is correct, and after the user was created. So first, just to see where the user was created, we can just simply list what is in the home folder, and there is a new folder called new user, and this is belonging to the new user. I will just quickly list it with a long list, and it shows the owner is the new user and the group is the new user as well. The next step, what we can do, or a different way to add the new user, is to use the user add command. We will do the same process, but instead of using the interactive way of creating the user, I can just simply type sudo, because we need still the root access in order to write to files. That will create the new user. And the command is user add, and we're going to use the M flag. That means we're going to create the home folder. The next step is we need to provide what shell we want this user to use. The default is usually the bash shell, but we can have another one, for example ZSH, but I will just stick with bash. And the last argument that is needed is going to be the username, and I will call it another user. Now the user is created, and the next thing to do is provide a password for the user. And how we can achieve that is simply typing sudo passwd, and this is going to modify the password of the other user. And over here with usernames as well, tab completion works. The same prompt comes up that we experienced in the previous command, and I will just provide the same strong password, and now the password is updated. We have two new users. This is another user and the new user. Actually log in and use these users from the terminal. At this point, what we can do is use su, and we just need to type the name of the user, and we need to provide the password that we given. And the first part of the prompt has changed because we changed the user itself, so now it's a new user. I can just type who am I, and it will say that I'm the new user. And if I type cd without any arguments, it will take me to the root of my home folder. If I want to go back to my previous user, I can just simply exit, because what happens is this is just an additional shell that is running in the terminal. And if I type exit, it will exit from the shell and go back to the previous shell that we have had in the terminal. The next step what we can do is modify our already existing user, what we have created. What we can do is modify the groups of a given user, and this is a very common modification to do, is adding a user to the pseudo group, meaning that the user is going to have root access and they will be able to do operation that requires root access. For example, creating a new user as well. In order to modify the user, we can just type sudo usermod, and I will add the new user to the pseudo group. To see what groups are the new user in, we can just simply use the pseudo groups and the username command, and this is the pseudo group that we just used for this user. And just to see that there is a difference between these users, we can just use groups another user, and this user only belongs to the another user. If I want to add this user, for example, to the users group, I can just type the following and check, and yes, this user belongs to the users group now as well. Additional modifications that can be done, for example, changing the home folder of a user. But before that, we need to create a folder for that. And in order to do that, I'm gonna create home, new home. Now it's created. We need to change the permissions. Now it will change to the other another user and the another user group as well. And I will just do this. So if we check, now the new home belongs to the another user, and now I will just simply do usermod and provide the new home to another user. And how we can test it, I can actually change to the another user, and if I press cd and pwd, it will show that this is the new home. We're going to exit. One other additional thing that we can do, amongst other things, is changing the user information interactively. And for this one, we can use the chfn command, and I will just change some information about the new user. Let's say John Doe, he has a middle name, and we forgot to put it into the system. He got moved to a new office, for example, or he has a new phone number, and so on. All this information we can actually see here in this section of the passwd in the etc folder. And the last step, what we can do is actually delete the user. And this is the same situation, deleting the user and adding the user. There are two different ways how we can do that. And it is not about interactivity, it's mostly that what files is remaining and what functionalities we keep. For example, if we want to keep the home directory and the mail spool, in that case we can just use the del user, and we going to provide the username. If we want to delete the home folder with the del user, we can use the remove home, and I will remove another user, and this removed all the files, the Chrome tabs, and as you can see what the information says. And if I just check the home, in that case, since we changed another user home folder to the new home has been removed. The another user folder stayed because that is not the home folder. And another way how we can delete users is using the user del. But before that, what we usually need to do, and I should have done it before that, but since this is a test environment, I haven't done it, but see if somebody is actually logged in. And to check if somebody is logged in, we can use the W command or the who command. These both are going to show us who logged into the system, and the who command confirms that it's only the WGTI user is using or is logged in to the system via the TTY2 terminal. And that means we can safely delete the user. And I will delete the other user, user down, and we use the R flag. Needs to be very careful because this is the same R flag, or it means the same when we use the RM command. So it will delete everything that belongs to the user. And if I just type new user, and since there was no mailing spool, it didn't delete it, but everything else is gone that belongs to the user. If I just type home just to see what is in there, the new user folder is gone. The information about the new user and additionally another user as well is gone as well. This is how you can manipulate users, add, modify, and delete users. I hope you enjoyed the video, and for the rest, we'll get to it.